Woman, be gone. Okay, bit late. Sorry, busy day. And forgot to pre-record this. This week's training, body part thingy, bobby, whatchamacallit, is back. Probably one of the most difficult body parts to train from a tech point of view. Legs are probably the hardest from an effort point of view, but again, back is a very close second to that. A large amount of muscle mass, very complex groupings, and obviously no direct drive linkage like a bicep or a tricep or a shoulder. It's obviously your arms are your linkage points. So there's a lot of secondary muscle involvement. Most people struggle with this, and they also struggle because there's not really a finite point of contraction. When you bench press, you lock out. Where do you lock out with a single arm row? What point is lockout? You get what I'm getting at here. There's so much variant on range. The old adage was always, sorry, just kick the cat. The old adage was always, for thickness you row, and for width you pull down. And it's more to do with how it activates the muscle. Obviously, the major aspect of our back is our lats, but we have our spinal erectors, we have our rhomboids and majors, minors, all these sort of bits, and obviously the traps. And don't forget the traps do run right down the centre. There's a couple of things that people struggle with back. One of the main ones is connectivity. A lot of people find that the forearms fail or the biceps fail. So my point with this is I've always used straps. Lightweight, obviously not, but as soon as I start getting into working weights, I strap up. If I want bigger forearms or I want a stronger grip, I'll train it. But I will not sacrifice my potential back workout due to the fact of having a weak link here. So I'll strap. Other things that you'll find is this is another area where the little finger comes in again. You grip hard with that little finger and you'll find it change the connectivity with your back, and you'll find it throws more onto your lats. But more importantly, core position. I go on about this all the time. And one of the things that it is very important is back. So, chest up, right? Head neutral. Doesn't matter if it's behind the neck, to the front, if it's rowing, that's your position. And squeeze it back. Any row movement, keep your elbows tight, keep them into the side. The closer they are to the side, the more you'll engage the back. The more you flare out, the more you'll start using upper trap, upper shoulders, upper delts. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. They tend to find the bulk of the load of the back goes onto their upper back, and they don't build that thick, deep, solid lat. And it's usually because of how they pull up row. The bar's too high, elbows are too flared, and it changes the direction of the load. Now, if you're on a pull down, the more you lean back, the more that line of action is going down that arm into your upper back. So you need to be fairly upright, and then the load will go down the arm and down the back. Another little trick with pull downs. The more you let your elbows rotate forward, the more you engage the lats. Just try it now. Sit like that. Go up, then down. Flex your lats, pull your elbows slightly forward, and then let your arms go up. And feel that lat activate. Completely changes the movement. So, you want to engage the lat more on a pull down, just let your elbows drift forward slightly. Just literally. If that's you, that's normal. Just let them come forward a little bit. And it completely changes the movement. When you row into the waist. Not here or here, down here. Okay. Again, big problem with rows, people don't bend over enough. If that's your legs, this is your back, and you're in that position, bear in mind that the load is going this way towards the floor, the load's going to go again all across your upper. As you bend over, that load comes further and further down your back. So the more you bend over, the lower down your lat you're going to pull the weight. The lower the bar goes into your waist, again, the more it's going to pull the weight and the load into your lower area of your back, as in the lower lat, mid lat, not as in lower back. So, people say I'm doing Yates's rows, and then do it completely wrong. Yes, on a Yates row you are more upright. But watch where the bar and elbows go. On a Yates row, I'm going to stand up now. Hopefully you can still see me and hear me. So, bent of a row. We're looking at that position. Boom. Yates row, we're here. But we don't do that. Okay? We do that. The elbows go back, not up. You see, so many people say, I'm doing a Yates row, and they're doing this, and the elbows are going high. No, back. Elbows go back, not up. And then you'll load more of the back. But because you're higher up, it takes the weak link out, which is the lower back. So if you're going to do a Yates row, at least do the fucking thing properly. So this stupid ass, half stood up, upright row shrug thing that most people do. Now deadlifts. I'm not a fan of deadlifts because I can't fucking do them. However, great back exercise. If you struggle with crossover into legs and everything else, then what's wrong with partial deadlifts? Now I don't like rack pulls. I prefer a partial because in a partial deadlift you don't re-rack the weight on every rep. So that way the tension's consistent on your back. You let the bar down to just below the knee, and then you pull up. And when you get to the top, again, obviously what you normally do is you pull up, and most people lean right back. You're going to hyperextend your lower back with that, so don't. Come up, come parallel, come straight, vertical, and then pull the elbows and the shoulder blades back and push your chest through. That will massively increase the engagement of your back in the deadlift. It will restrict the weight you can use. But if you keep those elbows low, tight to your side, and you pull back, not up, don't shrug it. So it's not this movement, it's that movement. You pull back. You'll find massive back engagement. Now that is how Yates used to do his partial deadlifts. If you want an extra dimension to that, when you come to the negative part, flare the lats. Flex and flare the lats and then lower the bar. Massive lat engagement. You'll be shocked how much damage that'll do to your back. Rowing movements, I always prefer thumbless grip. If you use a thumbed grip, you'll activate the forearms more, and in turn you'll activate the bicep more. If you go thumbless, think of your hands as hooks. We talked about this before. This portion from here to here is not to do with the movement. It's a way of connecting you to the bar. What we're concerned about is upper arm and the lat, pulling the upper arm back, or pulling the upper arm down. So in that sense, it's only from the elbow down that we're bothered about. This bit is just a connective element. So I always go thumbless. I like to, with a pull down, the wider you go, the more you'll limit your range of motion with your hand grip. But then again, don't go too narrow because you'll activate shoulders. So you want to be 4 inch wider than your shoulders each side. That should be plenty. That should give you a nice comfortable width, but enough of a range to really activate the lat throughout the range of movement. And you go to your arms are fully extended, and you go all the way down to your chest. When you get a bit heavier, obviously your range is going to shorten at the bottom, but always try to go as deep and full range as possible. It is complex as the back, so you can hit it from numerous angles and numerous exercises. But most people tend to spend far too much time on hitting the upper back and not hitting the mid and lower lat. So if you focus on those areas, the upper back will take care of itself. That'll come fine. You don't have to worry about it. Obviously, another thing with back is because of the nature of the muscle. It's an exercise, or it's a muscle, should I say, that we can do a little bit of overloading on. So you can introduce some swing, some momentum to break through with a lot heavier weight. It's a lot of dense muscle in there, but always control the negative. So if you get a bit of upper body swing on a pull down, make sure that you control that negative. And don't be afraid of loading up. You know, I mean, for some strange reason I can use 500 plus pound on a pull down, but when I try and chin, it hurts my elbows, but pull downs don't. No idea why. I just find the pull down a lot more comfortable movement, so that's what I've always stuck to. I've never been much of a chinner, even when I've had the power to do it. And row heavy. But always tidy stuff up with some light control stuff at the end, just to focus and make sure everything's fine light in. If you're struggling with connectivity, lighten the weight, slow the movement down, and learn to flex. Sit there in your chair, flex one lat, flex the other lat, flex different parts. You know, work your back, learn your body. Get your training partner to touch areas of your back when you're in the movement, so you can feel where you're supposed to be working. Slow it down. Play around with grip position, but like I said, you'll find it improves greatly if you focus on gripping with little finger. I think the biggest problem with back is for most people is they go too heavy too quick. Get the feel first, then start loading the weight. Even with deadlifts, the amount of people that hoik deadlifts up and have such poor back development. But deadlift's the king of back exercises, so why is that? It's because the form's shit. It's because they're not connecting. It's because they're not using the muscle. So make sure you do. You know, slow it down. Focus on the form, focus on the feel, focus on engaging the areas you want to contract. Nothing wrong with throwing some heavy cheat stuff in, but recognise it for what it is. It is heavy cheat stuff. It's not straightforward. And you'll be shocked at how powerful you can get. My best bent over row is 260 kilos, 4 reps. Wasn't tidy, was it hell? But I could easily, comfortably do 200 in strict form. You know, so the 260 gave me the confidence in the bar and the weight to be very strict with the 200. It's not a weight I'd recommend doing, it's injury territory is that, but the point is you can go very, very heavy on your back. But there's no point just throwing weights around if everything else is a shambles. Nothing wrong with some heavy stuff here and there, as long as it's backed up with good quality controlled reps with good contractions. If you're struggling, slow it down. When you're rowing, get them elbows tight to your body as you can. Drag it past, go back as far as you can, squeeze. Pull downs, let the elbows go slightly forward, and then you'll feel a massive engagement in your back. Try and minimise arm recruitment by hook grips. Use straps. Don't rely on grip. If you want a strong grip or big forearms, train it separately. And you'll build a good solid back. When you deadlift, don't lean back on your lower back and take all the load off your back. Stand tall, stand straight, chest lifted, and pull your shoulder blades back to engage your back even more. Do partials, that way you take out the leg development area of it. Down to just below the knee, straight back up again. Avoid rack pulls, because it disengages the load. Keeps the tension on the load more for a partial rep, or a partial deadlift. Put all that together, and you should be absolutely fucked. If at the end of your back workout you are not blasted to the same degree as you are when you train legs, then you ain't training it hard enough. Back is a massive muscle group and should really wipe you out. Okay, it's your way of knowing, but just make sure that you are engaging. There's no point doing big heavy back workouts if you're not feeling anything. So it needs to be a mix. No issue with going heavy like I've already said, but make sure you back it up with quality feeling reps. Okay, hopefully that's been useful. Next time, we're going to be on to the legs. So we'll start with quads. So next time we'll do quads. Hopefully I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.